Yo, what is good YouTube? It is your boy Make America Lit, back with another NBA video. And in today's video, as you can see on your screen, we are going to be discussing big threes. Now, I'm going to be trying to rank all big threes. I'm going to be breaking this video up into different sections. We'll have like all-time big threes. I'm going to have current big threes, and then we're going to have big threes that didn't win. So I'm going to be breaking this video up into 3 different sections. Before we get into the video, can you please do me a favor and drop a like on this video? The rating does help the channel to grow, and it gets the video out to a wider audience so more people can see the channel, see the video, and stuff like that. Without ado, let's just jump into the video. Starting off, we're going to be doing current big threes. Now, some of these big threes, and I'm doing air quotes, I don't know if we could really call them big threes. There are a couple here that I'm just like, I don't know if I'm calling these guys big threes or not. But I feel like just talent-wise, they kind of qualify as big threes. So we're just going to go ahead and include them anyway. So starting off, I have ranked number 8. I have Cat, Anthony Edwards, and Rudy Gobert out in Minnesota Timberwolves. Not that great of a big three. You know, this is a team that's very I mean, I don't know how to describe this team without trying to, like, you know, shit on them. I mean, they have upside. You know, I think Anthony Edwards is a really good player. He held Minnesota down this year with Cat going out with injury. You know, that span from like January through like March, Anthony Edwards balled out of his mind. Like, when I say he went stupid, he went absolutely apeshit. And this team would literally be in a lottery if it wasn't for Anthony Edwards when Cat went down with that injury. So he kind of balled out. He's the reason why they were even in the play-in and why they even made the playoffs. And I mean, nobody really gave them a chance in hell against Denver. The fact that they even won a single game against Denver, you know, much props to them. But, you know, being real, nobody had them beating Denver. The fact that they even was able to steal a game against Denver, kind of just, you know, everybody had them getting swept. I mean, that in itself is impressive. I think that, you know, going forward, this big three probably won't be, you know, the most successful. They'll probably make some more playoff runs and things of that nature, but I don't see them winning with this big three. Like, that's just my opinion. I do think they need to build around Anthony Edwards, but I don't think Anthony Edwards and Cat is going to last. I think somebody's going to go, and it probably won't be Anthony Edwards. That's just my opinion. I could see Gobert sticking around, even though his contract, that trade, everything involving him is kind of nuts. I think if they trade Cat, they could get some of those picks in draft stock that they lost, you know, in that trade back, and can kind of build something around Edwards and Gobert. But that's just me on my take on them. Moving on, I have ranked 7th. We have Devin Booker, CP3, and Kevin Durant. Now, this is a fairly new big three, as Durant just got traded there, you know, this season. Prior to that, it probably would have been Booker, CP3, and Ayton, but Durant's obviously the better player, the better talent, so, and he's going to be more important going forward for the Phoenix Suns. So I have Booker, CP3, and Durant, and they're ranked this low. I mean, talent-wise, they will probably be ranked top 3, if not top 2, as far as current big threes go, if you're looking at talent, accolades, and all of those statures or whatever. But, you know, that doesn't really matter. We're talking about, like, winning and what have you done, you know, and what you're going to do. And, you know, this Phoenix team, they beat a super injured, you know, a battered Clippers team, but they didn't really do much outside of that. Everybody pretty much had them winning that series once Kawhi and, you know, PG, you know, were confirmed to be out with injuries. They kind of, you know, I mean, Westbrook did his thing, and he, you know, made the games close and stuff like that. He gave Los Angeles a fighting chance, and I really liked what, you know, Westbrook did. But, you know, this Phoenix team just pretty much demolished them, and they didn't have a chance in hell. And then they went up against Denver, and they kind of just rolled over and just got cooked. And outside of some very, very questionable refereeing, and I think it was game 3, I think it was, I don't really see them even going to game 6. The fact that they went to game 6 is impressive in itself. Booker balled out of his mind. CP3 injured. Durant played very, very, very questionable. Yeah, man, I don't know about this Phoenix Big Three. I mean, on paper, it should work. All three of these players are inside and out. You have a Hall of Fame playmaker in CP3. You have a really great talent in Devin Booker, a really good scorer. And then you have a Hall of Fame tier talent and scorer, one of the greatest scorers we've ever seen pick up a basketball, in Kevin Durant. On paper, this should work. I mean, obviously, defensively, this team is super lacking. But, injury history, Devin Booker has a history with injuries. CP3 has been hurt like the last 5 years of his career. And then Durant coming off like, a lot of these injuries the last couple of years. This Phoenix team is going to be questionable, going forward. But they have the talent to be a top 3 Big Three, and they have the talent to be, move up that list and get put in that tier of like all-time Big Threes. I think they could win a championship, but it's going to take some Hall of Fame finessing by this front office to put some defense around them, put some rebounding around them and things of that nature in order to turn this into like a championship roster. I mean, yeah, you have 3 of the greatest players to, play, on this team, but I don't think it's going to matter much when you don't have no defense, you don't have no rebounding, you don't have a big that actually wants to play. This Big Three is going to be very questionable, in my opinion. Moving on, I have ranked number 6. We have Joel Embiid, James Harden, and Tyrese Maxey. Now, this Big Three is going to be questionable coming into next season because there's talk that Harden might be going back to Houston or that he's just leaving. I'm hearing talk that Joel Embiid might get traded and that Philly's thinking about just doing a hard reset. I mean, I hope not. Philadelphia has been exciting, to watch. I'm not a Philly fan, but they've been exciting to watch. It was nice to see that Philly, despite their fans being absolute garbage, it was nice to see the 76ers be competitive. After watching them tank year after year after year after year, getting a high draft pick, the draft pick sitting out and missing their rookie year. We watched it happen to Nerlens Noel. We watched it happen to Joel Embiid. We watched it happen to Ben Simmons. Tyrese Maxey is probably the first. I'm trying to think. I think Markelle Fultz played too. So I think Markelle Fultz and Tyrese Maxey are like the last 2 rookies to actually play their rookie season. I think prior to that, I'm pretty sure everybody didn't play. I'm trying to remember if Jahlil Okafor played, but I don't think Jahlil Okafor played either. I don't think Jahlil, Noel, Embiid, or Simmons played their rookie year. I could be wrong. Maybe Okafor did play. Maybe I'm misremembering, but Maxey is a very special talent. I think Maxey's really good. I mean, Maxey impressed me last year. The things that they were asking of Tyrese Maxey to do as a rookie, asking him to be the second option, because the way James Harden played last year, James Harden didn't play like a second option in the playoffs, and they pretty much put that pressure on Tyrese Maxey. And I want to say the last time a rookie was asked to carry that much weight on a competitive team, like a championship team, was probably, I'm probably going way too far back. There's probably another example, but my example I was going to say was Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers going to the NBA Finals his rookie year and winning the championship. That's what I was going to say, because I don't think I've ever seen a rookie be asked to be the second option on a championship team. I mean, we've had rookies have to be the first option and the second option, but LeBron wasn't on a championship team when he got drafted to Cleveland. Yeah, he was asked to be the first option and things of that nature, but he wasn't on a championship team. Like, I think they asked a lot of Tyrese Maxey, and he performed, good, but, he was a rookie. He was going to make mistakes. It's part of being a rookie, But I think that was good experience for him. They made the playoffs again this year, and they came up short against Boston. But I think going forward, he's going to be a really good talent. If they could keep these guys together, I think they're still going to be a playoff team. I think without a doubt they're going to be back in the playoffs. But I think the ultimate goal is to be championship contender. And while they were contenders, they just couldn't get over the hump. And I honestly thought this was their year. After they went up 3-2 against Boston, I really thought that this three were going to possibly carry Philly. I thought that if Philly beat Boston, there's no way in hell that they were going to lose to Miami. And realistically, if anybody was going to beat Denver out of the West, out of the East, it could have been Philly. It was going to either be Philly or it was going to be Boston. I personally don't think Miami has a chance, but that's just my opinion. You can agree or disagree. That's cool either way, but I think it's going to be interesting to see what Philly does going forward with these three players. Moving forward, ranked 5th, I have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Marcus Smart as the 5th ranked big three currently in the NBA. Tatum, Brown, and Smart, obviously really good players. Multiple time Eastern Conference Finals appearances. Really good young talent. Like everybody here is like under 29, so they're a really good young team, so they have a future too. It's not like they're in their prime already, or past their prime, or 30, 31, 32 years old and things. These are fairly young players, so they still have like a good solid 5 years, 6 years left in their prime of playing basketball, and they've already made it to multiple Eastern Conference Finals. They've already made it to an NBA Finals. They came up short against Golden State, but I do think that they're a really good big three. They play well off of each other. And the best thing about it is that this team, as far as you look at all of these other big threes, they are probably the most versatile in the sense that all three are two-way players. To a lesser extent, Marcus Smart isn't that good of an offensive player, but they are all two-way players. They don't shy away from playing defense. They don't shy away from having to guard, the player opposite of them. And I think that's what makes this big three so unique. It's hard to find, a big three where they can play both sides of the ball well, just equally as good, finding dudes who can play defense as equally as good as they play offense, So I think that's what makes Boston's big three super unique. Moving on to number 4th ranked big three, I have Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and either Michael Porter Jr. or Aaron Gordon. It all depends on who you value more. If you're valuing offense more, then I guess you could lean Michael Porter Jr. If you're valuing defense more, you can lean Aaron Gordon. Personally, I would choose Aaron Gordon because I feel like Aaron Gordon has impacted that team more as far as winning, playing defense, making those backdoor cuts, the putbacks, the rebounding that he does, just the little things. I feel like Gordon impacts that team more. And Michael Porter Jr. is a very valuable member of that team, don't get me wrong. But I think that you can take Michael Porter Jr. out and put any three-point shooter there, and you still get the same, to an extent, the same contribution. If you take Aaron Gordon off that team, it looks a little bit different. That effort that you have, that glue guy. They all need that Draymond, Dennis Rodman glue type of guy that's going to do all the dirty shit that nobody else wants to do. And they all hustle, they all play hard, but you need that energy guy that's gonna, catch that putback dunk or tap that rebound in, or go hard and grab 3 offensive rebounds in a row and get you, some boards here and there, or it's gonna make that backdoor cut and catch that lob, energy plays like that, and that's what Aaron Gordon brings. So it depends on who you value more, but me, I would say Jokic, Murray, Gordon. Some people say Jokic, Murray, MPJ. It's up to you, but I think that they're the 4th best. Now, moving on to our 3rd ranked big three currently in the NBA, I have Kyle Lowry, Bam, and Jimmy Butler. Or, again, this is another one where you could go with either or. We could go Kyle Lowry, Bam, and Jimmy, or we can go Tyler Hero, Bam, and Jimmy. It all, again, depends on what you value more. The playmaking, the leadership that Kyle Lowry brings to the table, or just the shooting and scoring that Tyler Hero brings to the table. I feel like Tyler Hero impacts that team a little bit more than Kyle Lowry. Lately, in the last 2 seasons, I would say Hero, or the last season, Hero has impacted that team more than Lowry has. Lowry has kind of taken the back seat, and he kind of just been like a game manager, kind of. He's not like, the playmaker that he once was as he's getting up there in age. So I would go with Hero, Bam, and Jimmy, but I know some people would probably pick Kyle Lowry over Hero and say he's a part of that big three. So truthfully, it's up to you, but I think that, again, just like, Boston, you're talking about a team, if you're including Lowry, you're talking about a big three that, can play both sides of the ball, offense and defense, with Jimmy, Lowry, and Bam. If you're talking about Hero, then, you don't have the defensive aspect from Hero, but you still have, a very high rated offensive player that's going to space the floor, that's going to make those cuts, that can finish at the rim, just a really good big three. And again, 2 years in a row making it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they were also a part of that NBA Finals in 2020 against the Lakers in the bubble. Like, this team, or this big three, has had success too. It's not like they're just, a team that just makes the playoffs and gets bounced. They've made, multiple Eastern Conference Finals trips, and they've even made an NBA Finals trip. And now this year, this is their second NBA Finals trip in the last 3 seasons. So you got to give them, some type of respect, Moving on to our second ranked big three currently in the NBA, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, and Jrue Holiday. And again, I would probably even go as far as to say that this is probably the best defensive big three currently in the NBA, because I probably even put Milwaukee over Boston, maybe their big three anyway, not their team, but Giannis, Middleton, and Jrue were just like, just absolute madmen defensively. I've been a huge fan of Jrue Holiday, especially going back to his New Orleans days, and even going back to his Philly days. Playing in Philly, I've really messed with Jrue Holiday. I've always been a fan of his game. I always like the fact that he played both sides of the balls, and even when you go back to him playing in Philly, he's always been the same player of like, yeah, I could score, yeah, I could play make, but I'm also going to play defense too, Same thing with Middleton, same thing with Giannis, a team that has had, a lot of success, winning that 2021 NBA championship, multiple deep runs in the playoffs. If you're looking at, big threes, I feel like this is the second best big three currently in the NBA, because if you look at NBA big threes, this is the only other team that has won an NBA championship. There's only, on this list, there's only 2 big threes that have won an NBA championship, and they are one of those teams. So you have to give them, their flowers in, being the second best ranked big three in the NBA currently. And then moving on to the number 1 big three, I'm pretty sure you guys already had guessed, what the big three is that I'm going to name. The big three that has, pretty much dominated the 2010s and, just the modern NBA, and that's going to be Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, of course. Like, I mean, there's not much that you can say, or that needs to be said about them, Steph, Klay, and Dre are just, ridiculous. I don't think any other big three in the NBA currently can compare to this team. And obviously, this season wasn't their season. They've dealt with, turmoil going on inside their, franchise between players and things of that nature. So, the chemistry and all of those things wasn't completely there. But regardless, I still think that, currently in the NBA, if you ask me to pick a big three, like right now, who would be the three that you go with? If you're telling me right now, I want to win an NBA championship right now, we're about to start up the playoffs, who would you choose? I would be hard pressed to not pick Steph, Klay, and Dre. I'm sorry. Even with them being up there, everybody's getting older, they're battling injuries. Like last year, everybody pretty much counted them out. Everybody wrote them off. Everybody was saying Boston, Boston, Boston. Nobody had them winning the NBA Finals. And once again, they showed everybody why they're the Golden State Warriors, you know. Can't really stand them, but you gotta, you know, give flowers where flowers are due. So, you know, I have them ranked number 1. So, again, to go over the list, we have 8th, Cat, Anthony Edwards, and Rudy Gobert. 7th, we have Booker, CP3, and Durant. 6th, we have Embiid, Harden, and Maxey. 5th, we have Tatum, Brown, and Smart. 4th, we have Jokic, Murray, and Gordon. 3rd, we have Hero, Bam, and Jimmy. 2nd, we have Giannis, Middleton, and Drew Holiday. And then 1st, we have Steph, Clay, and Dre.